I'm with Promar USA. I'm also sponsored by Bass Pro Shop, Berkeley Blue Garcia, Hobie Kayaks. I'm on the Hobie Pro team. I'm actually on the Mercury Pro team as well. I fish for Rapala, Lead Masters, Uni Butter. Hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but I got a list of people that's been supporting me for about 10 years. I was a 2009 Angler of the Year for kayak fishing. I'm a top 10 tournament angler in the saltwater bass series, either on a kayak or the SWBA and the SBS series. We just got done with our series. We actually made a championship round. We've been going to championship round for about the last 4 years since the tournament started. So that's what I do when the season is going on. I'm catching bass. And I'm raising 4 boys. These are my boys. They're running around here. They're with me wherever I go. Usually we do life together, something that we do and I enjoy. I'm at the Fred Hall show speaking, at the Spring Classic speaking, anywhere there's a speaking engagement. For some reason, people like to have me come. I guess they think I'm funny or something. I will tell you some jokes. They're probably not funny. I'll laugh at them before you will. So that's kind of how I roll. I'm kind of like a real flexible person. I spend a lot of time on a boat, so I'm kind of like not all there. So I apologize. With that said, we're going to talk about lobster fishing, lobster hooping, however you want to say it. We have, like I said, we're at Promar. A lot of specials going on today, and I just want to go over the basics on rigging. Anybody lobster hoop before? Okay.
No.
More than 5 years lobster hooping. Okay, awesome. So we have some veteran lobster people here. Usually veteran lobster people want to know my spots. I'm not going to give you my spots. I'm probably going to ask about your spots. I might give you a spot, but there's not going to be anything there. Hopefully that you'll give me a good spot in exchange. So a lot of people come here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to tell you how I do things, how things worked out for me. I first started hooping off a kayak in shallow water. And I started right here at Dana Point. So the shop that I fish for, to be on the Hobie Pro team, you have to fish for a shop. I fish for Pure Water Sports here, which is Dana Point Jet Ski. Guys, anyone know where that shop's at? Okay, Tim is the owner there. He's been one of my biggest supporters. He was actually my first sponsor ever to take a chance with me. And he was the one that kind of blossomed me into the industry that I'm in now. And he said, hey Gilbert, you want to go lobster hoop with me? I said, great, I don't know anything about lobster hooping. I got on my kayak, I went out there, and we're using the lay flat nets, which you don't really see so much anymore. And I said, what do you do? I had no idea what to do. He's like, he gave me a lobster gauge. He goes, here, this is a lobster gauge. Here's some hoop, throw some mackerel in there, and have at it. And we went out to the break wall. He says, you just got to find structure. So I went to the break wall, and I threw my net over, and I had this bundle of string, and it felt like a cat playing in a hallway with a feather. I was like, it was all tangled, and here's a zip tie to zip tie it together. And I was like, man, I'm going to go through like 50, 100 zip ties by the end of the day. And so I remember pulling up my first lobster net. And it was just loaded with lobster. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, seems like there's 100 lobster in this thing. And I put it on my lap, and they're all, of course, they're like this big, and you're thinking like, oh my gosh, this has to be legal, right? And you grab your gauge, and it like doesn't even hit it at all. You're like, okay, that's not legal. Well, it turns out that night I threw a lot of big bugs away because I was measuring with the wrong tool. I was measuring the crab side, and I said, Tim, which one is the lobster? He goes, bro, you can't read. It says lobster and crab on it. I'm like, oh man, I was in the crab one the whole time. I brought like 2 bugs in, and they were big bugs. They're like no doubters. But no one taught me how to do anything, right? So over the years, I've been doing this for a little bit. Over the years, I've kind of gotten a little bit smarter, and I've kind of learned how to do things. It's not taking me so much time. And that's the thing on the water is when you're lobster hooping, it's the time thing. Whether you're hooping in Catalina in 120 feet of water, or whether you're hooping in the bay, we have all different sizes of ropes. We have our new rope right now. And we're going to talk about all this, but we have our new rope that comes in a 1/2-inch rope. It's 200 and 300 foot spools. And if you guys have ever pulled with the smaller stuff, it's very, very difficult when you get it into your hand, The thicker rope is something that you want to pull on. It's just a lot easier, okay? So the normal standard pack comes in 75 foot lengths. A lot of the kayakers and a lot of the guys that take their kids out like to fish in the harbor, whether it's like Huntington Harbor, Long Beach Harbor, the break walls, Dana Point break wall, things like that are not so deep. Then you got a whole nother set of lobstering when you go into the island, okay? And you do have those muscle guys out that do like trap day, right? And they don't have a puller, like a machine that actually does it for you. And they're actually pulling 120 feet, but there's 6 guys in the boat. And hopefully by the time they do their whole rotation, they're praying to God that they have their limit by then, because remember, one guy doesn't want to pull again, right? Because it's super deep. We're going to talk about those things. The number one thing to do, though, when you're going out lobster hooping is to know the regulations. It's super, super important, guys. I've been hooping a long time. I've seen a lot of guys that don't know the regulations. They go out there, they don't think they're going to get caught, and guess what? They get caught. Because somehow the fish and game are disguised as dolphins and sea lions. And you think you have a sea lion on your tail, but it's actually a fish and game warden. Okay? And he's watching everything that you're doing. And he knows exactly what you're listening to and what you're eating and how was that ham sandwich, and you know, the coffee must have been pretty cool, huh? You're like, man, they have these crazy binoculars. They're just watching everything you do. What I do is, first thing is to know the regulations. Does anybody know how many hoops you can have on a boat?
10.
10 with how many people?
2.
2. You go by yourself on a boat, how many can you have?
5.
5. You go on a kayak, how many can you have?
5.
5. Okay. This is where people always have trouble with. They do this all the time. They go out there because nobody knows how to read tide or moon phase. Okay? When you're lobster hooping and you're looking for lobster, you have to know the conditions. Okay? Moon phase is huge. Do lobsters like light? They don't. They don't like light. Unless you're hooping inside a harbor where there is continual light. Say you go to Long Beach Harbor and there's a light on there. They're going to go in there all the time. So you need to know 2 things. The moon rise and the moon set. Okay? You got to go down, Navy calendar or something that has the moon rise and moon set. When the moon is at its ultimate set, that's when it's the brightest. Okay? If I'm going to go lobster hooping next week and the moon set is at 7 o'clock, am I going to go? I'm probably not going to go. I've done it before and I've wasted my time. Unless you're hooping in a harbor where there's a light or something. If you're going to go and the moon set is at midnight, okay? The moon's going to set at midnight. Well, that means it's going to be the brightest it can be at midnight. It's going to be rising. Let's say the moon's going to start rising at 6 o'clock. It's going to start rising at 6 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock, it's going to set. Boom. It is its brightest, okay? You need to know moon phase. Second thing you need to know is what? Tide. Tide. I always tell people this in my bay bass seminars, sand bass seminars, is there's 3 types of tide, right? There's incoming, a slacked, and an outgoing, okay? What do you guys do when it's slack tide? No, you call your wife and ask for forgiveness for going fishing. That's what you do. You call your wife, ask for forgiveness, or you get into that sandwich that you made the night before, it's all soggy, that you put mayonnaise on, you regret you did, right? So you need to know when the water's moving, because this is what happens. As the tide is coming in, it stirs up the bottom of the ocean, right? When the bottom of the ocean stirs up, you get all the crustaceans, and then the bait fish start feeding off that, and then the world of fishing starts to begin, okay? When the water's not moving, nothing's happening. Everything's kind of just chilling. They're taking a break, taking a siesta, right? So you take a siesta as well. Then you have the outgoing, right? So it's moving again. Okay, you have 2 crawls. You have the outgoing crawl and the incoming crawl, right? The outgoing crawls are going to work. They're going to work. They're going to get their food for the day. They're going to scavenge out, and then they're going to come back, right? And if you're good enough to know when that time is, you can time them perfectly. You may gain your bugs from 6 o'clock when it gets dark all the way to 9 o'clock. You guys are high-fiving each other, but at 9:15, what's going on? Well, you got to check the tide. Well, maybe it's a slack tide. Maybe they're just not crawling anymore. Maybe they're too far out. Maybe we got to put our hoops a little farther out. Maybe they're not scavenging in this area anymore. Well, around 2 o'clock in the morning, oh, guess what? If you would have stayed at 2 o'clock in the morning, which not a lot of people do, is when they start crawling back home, back to the rocks, back to their houses, right? The only mistake people do is they bring back to with the 10 and the 5 nets, is they'll take 5 nets on a kayak and they'll find one because someone doesn't know how to do tide, how to read tide. And they'll throw their buoy out. And if I know for a fact that if I'm going to go out here to Dana Point, let's say it's the closest thing, Dana Point, and I know the water's going to rise 3 feet in 3 hours, well, I'm going to adjust my rope to about 5 feet because I know it's rising, right? Well, I know if it's going to drop 3 feet, well, I don't want, 10 feet of slack. I'm going to drop it 10 feet. What happens is they throw their trap out and they end up like those guys on YouTube that get their boat stuck in the sand because they don't know the tide. They're like, man, the ocean just dropped underneath us like it's an act of God. No, it happened for a reason because you're a dummy. Like, you don't know how to read tide. Don't put your boat on the beach You know, it reminds me of a friend of mine who proposed to his girlfriend over here in La Jolla, and he had this blanket out with candles and everything. And I remember the first thing, and he put, I went right by the water, you know, and he took his, I took my phone out and I looked at it and I said, hey bro, you got about 45 minutes. You're gonna be about 3 feet underwater. Oh boy, he was his little proposal didn't turn out so well. He's moving his blanket all the way back to the rocks, you know. He's like, where's she at? Where's she at? And I just thought it was the guy that lost his net at 9 o'clock. Guess what? His net magically appears. A lot of times I would go out there on my kayak, get out in the water about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I just see nets everywhere. On my kayak or my boat at all times. Okay? How many pins you guys should carry? 2. A box. A box of pins, all right? I made this mistake before. I had 1 pin on my kayak. It fell over. So now what do? I got to go all the way back in, right, to get a pin. Okay? Carry a box of pins. Okay, on your boat. What is it going to hurt? How much does a box of pins weigh? Okay, what if your pen goes out of ink? What if you drop it? What if something happens, okay? A pen is everything. If you don't have a pen, you are not fishing or hooping for lobster. Straight up, okay? Pen has never been so more important in your life when lobster hooping, okay? So have a pen, okay? I have this waterproof cage. I don't have my new lobster card, guys. I apologize. I've been so busy with doing seminars. I got to get it before Saturday, right? I don't know where I'm going yet. Follow, right? Okay, so this is lobster. It's an older lobster card. I usually turn them in. This one I kept just for demo purposes. When you buy your lobster card, it is super long. It's like this big, right? They should have like a white sea bass measurement on it or something like this. This is the length of a white sea bass. But it's going to tell you all kinds of information. Has anybody ever filled one of these out before? Raise your hand. Nobody's ever filled one of these out before. Okay. This is very, very important, guys. Okay, we have to know this regulation before we do anything. We are on the dock, okay? Say you're gonna get on my boat. I have a 21-foot bait champ. It's a beautiful thing, I love it. And so you're gonna get on my boat, or even I'm gonna take you on the kayak. Before we even get in the kayak, we're gonna write down where we are going. So it's gonna ask for the date, the month, the day, the location, the gear you're using, and how many lobster that you're gonna obtain. At the very bottom of this is the cheat sheet. It's going to tell you all the locations of where you're fishing. Okay, so this day I was fishing Dana Point, and so the location is 37. Okay, so I'm going to put 37. And then it's going to ask you, are you diving from? Are you using a hoop style net, a flat net? It's going to ask you how you're doing it. Okay, and then you have to put, it's called the gear code. So you put the gear code. Okay, so now I'm good. We all have our date in there, we have our location in there, and now we're going to go lobster hooping, right? Okay, so we have our lobster hoops. We're throwing them out. They're not crawling. We need to move locations. Okay, what do?
Fill it out again?
We fill it out again. We do not move. We stay in one spot. We get all of our hoop nets on. We do not put the boat in gear. We do not turn our kayaks towards a different way until we change locations. The minute you hit that throttle, that sea lion is going to turn to a fish and game warden. He's going to go, whoa, where are you going? Let me see your card. Because now you're in transition, right? You're en route. You're going somewhere. Okay, you're moving locations. Oh, I see that you're supposed to be here, and I see that you haven't put anything for the lobster. How many lobster did you get? Oh, well, we didn't get anything. Well, I'm going to have to write you a ticket because that's supposed to be 0.
So you have to put
Okay?
0.
That's supposed to be 0. Okay? It's your knowledge to know that. 0. Okay? Before you move, it has to be 0. Okay? Or it has to be 2 or 3 or whatever it may be. Okay? Then they're going to tell you another thing, which is on your handout. Let me see your lobster. This is the part where it's like, right? Like, you want to see my what? You know, like, I mean, you look at anything else but that, you know? So then they're going to get out, which we have is a lobster gauge, right? Every lobster fisherman should have this. They're going to ask for, first of all, let me see your gauge. Oh, I don't have a gauge in the boat. Oh, you're going to get a ticket for that because you're supposed to have a lobster gauge. For some weird reason, I always seem that their gauge is a little bit different than ours. Okay? And I don't know why it is. And I always told the guy, I'm like, bro, what did you get? Is yours like imported somewhere? Like, is yours made of different metal? Like, why is your gauge
smaller?
A little bit smaller.
I know.
Or bigger, I'm sorry. Bigger
Oh,
than mine,
bigger.
you know? And so on this gauge, I was talking to these gentlemen here before, or when we're talking about it, is lobster and crab, right? Lobster and crab, if you're going crabbing, it's one side, going lobster the other, okay? I always carry my own personal stuff at seminars. I always carry this around my neck. I always have, even if I don't use it, I always have a free one, but it's always on my neck. Especially when I'm in a lobster, in a kayak, it's always on my neck. Sometimes I get stuck and I just like put it here, but I know it's there. It's always there. Just like my pins, I know my pins are there. Like I have a dry bag when I go on my kayak and I have it stuffed with pins because it's like I don't want any excuse not to write anything down. Because writing in hooping season is very important, okay? So they're going to take out their gauge. They're going to say, let me see your lobster. You grab your lobster, and they're going to grab it. Now, in your paperwork there, it's supposed to be 3 1/4 on the carapace, okay? So people always think it's the lobster tail. Oh, the tail, right? Like the tail. I mean, I've seen some real funky lobster out there that have like this ginormous body and this short, tiny tail, or vice versa. It's like this little, tiny body. Like you look at the lobster, like that has to be a legal lobster. But it has the smallest little body in the world. Like, and it doesn't measure. Like, it doesn't measure, but it's this huge tail. You're like, you're holding it in your hand, and that's the worst thing that you can do when you measure lobster, is when you put this gauge on a lobster, okay, so say this is the lobster, right? If you ever measure a lobster and the eyeballs move on the lobster, if the eyeballs go just a little bit, it's not legal. Okay, that's the sign that God gave to you. If the eyeballs move, it's not legal. Okay, so this is what happens. The longer you keep it in your hand, the more legal it gets. Okay? So you keep doing this. You keep doing this. And you keep doing this. And you're like, you know what? And you convince yourself that it's a legal lobster when it's not a legal lobster, right? And you put it in your tank. And then you get in trouble because Fish and Game, their gauge is different, right? So I always sand mine down just a tiny bit. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I just sand it down just a tad bit. I tell the game warden, hey man, I sand that gauge down. I sand it down. Oh, okay. Because I want no doubters. Okay? So the minute you have that lobster in your hand and it's short, just throw it and take a deep breath and shout to the sky if you have to. Ah! And then keep going. Because I've had a whole net before where I could have had a full limit. But I'm measuring his lobster and the eyeballs just move a little bit. And I'm like, it has to be like, but it's almost like a baby. I should try to stretch him out. Well, maybe I put him in the tank. He'll like loosen up a little bit, But he doesn't loosen up a little bit. It's his carapace. It's hard. It's not going to go anywhere. Give him another year to grow, So that's what you need to do. Get rid of those lobsters that aren't legal. Okay, it's the number one thing that's going to save your life. It's the number one thing with rookie hooping people that do. They always say, oh, it's my first lobster season. I got to fill my refrigerator with all these lobster. Family's coming over, and I want to prove to them that I can do something manly, right? Especially you're on the kayak. Go out there and do this on a kayak, brother. But get rid of it, guys. It's not worth it. Those lobster, the Fish and Game wardens, they are on the docks. They're out in black Zodiacs. They're out there, like I said, they're out in costumes, man. They look like a rock, They do everything. I mean, one time I almost hit the sea line. It was starting this year, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. It used to be midnight. They changed it. There's a lot of reasons why they changed it. I think some game wardens want to sleep in. I think they're worried about, the divers. They're worried about all kinds of stuff. But 6 a.m. So there's going to be a lot of people out there, probably cruising around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's going to look like Havasu. But be courteous. Be courteous to everybody, right? I was hooping in San Diego Bay one time, and there's this guy dropping nets on top of ours. It's like, come on, man. You're like, we've been here, we got here early. They get out there late, it's their spot, and they drop a net right on top of your net. It's like, be courteous. It's a sport that we all love and enjoy, and nobody wants to deal with the jerk, and out in the water. I mean, we deal with so much already with all of our rules and regulations on fishing. It's like the last thing we need is like a fellow fisherman is just trying to get a lobster over here or something. So just be courteous. That's all I can say. So you're out there lobstering. Now we know the regulations, right? We filled out our paperwork. We got our lobster gauges, but we still got to get our hoop nets ready, right? Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys 2 ways how I rig my hoop nets. A lot of people don't do this, and if you have ever seen it, I would like to know, because so far I think me and like a few other guys are the only ones that do it, because we're hooping in shallow water, less than 75 feet. Anybody hooping less than 75 feet or more than 75 feet? More than 75 feet? Yes, you got a puller? That's what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so most everybody's going to be pulling by hand, right? 1/2-inch rope, we're going to be pulling by hand, 30 feet of water or so, 10 to 30 feet of water. Perfect. Okay. this is the way, and I apologize, guys. We have a weight that Promar makes. It's a prototype. I was supposed to get them. We're supposed to get them out here where it actually clips to the end of the rope. So this is what I usually do. Just use like a sinker like this, tie a rope. This is a figure 8 knot. Perfect and easy knot, a figure 8 knot. Google or YouTube can teach you that, no problem. So another one thing too of the new regulations that I didn't go over is on your buoy you have to have your Go ID. Okay, that's a new regulation. So your Go ID is on your license right here. And it's kind of like, you know, once you're born, you're numbered. You always have a number, you know, so the Fish and Game want to number you as well. And it's called the Go ID. So on top of your license is a Go ID. It's the very top. It says your Go ID of your hunting, your fishing, anything you do in California that has to do with fishing or hunting, you're going to have that Go ID, okay? Well, the Fish and Game says, you know what, we want your Go ID now on your buoy, okay? So they're going to get on your boat, and they're going to ask you, whose equipment is this? You know, and you say, yeah, it's my equipment. They're going to say, where's your Go ID? And you're going to write you a ticket. You're going to have your Go ID. So it takes 2 seconds. Something I always carry on my boat as well is a Sharpie. Okay, always carry a Sharpie. It's good to have, like I said, lobster hooping is one of the things where you actually feel like you're in school, you're always filling out paperwork, man. It's like, man, paperwork. I went up north to Oregon and they do the same thing for salmon. It's like paperwork. You catch a salmon, you gotta register him for school, you gotta get shots for him, you gotta do all this kind of thing. It's like, man, I didn't want to catch a salmon, man, it's too much work, you know? I go to the grocery store, buy a Trader Joe's or something. So, your Go ID, all right?
From year to year?
What's that?
Does the Go ID change from year to year?
No, the same. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's going to be with you forever. So pick a good one. So, this is the normal way that the traditional hoop nets are set up. You have your rope. This is a 75-foot rope, half-inch rope. You have your rope. At the end of this rope is a figure 8. Okay, and the figure 8 goes, and we'll talk about all these hoop nets. The figure 8 goes on the bridle here, and it ties right into that. Okay. So this rope ties on this bridle, okay? This is our heavier net. We'll talk about that next. And what happens is you unwind this rope and you throw this out, okay? So what's going to happen is the rope is going to go through the buoy, and it's going to adjust. So say you're hooping 50 foot of water, well it's going to go out 50 foot and it's going to stop, okay? And so what's going to happen is that rope is down, okay? And then say the tie goes down, this goes out, tie goes up, this goes up, okay, so it kind of adjusts, right? The problem I have with this, it's a lot of rope, okay? And it's a lot of rope. See that? I don't even want to unwind it because it's going to get me upset. So, and if you have 10 nets on your boat and you're dealing with this all day, it becomes a spaghetti mess. I was on my kayak with 5. Remember I was telling you guys my story? And I was dealing with 5 of this, and I had zip ties. Like, all right, we're zip tie it. Oh yeah, we found an easier way. We're gonna bungee it. Oh, we're gonna duct tape it. And so I just finally was like, you know, I just can't handle this anymore. So what I do is, I started putting my hoop nets on an extension cord winder. Okay, now I'm gonna show you what I do. So this is 75 foot right here. And it's pretty simple. What I do is I have like a quick disconnect, which here I go to Home Depot and I buy one. This is stainless steel. It's rated for about 500 or 600 pounds. Okay, and I put it at the end of my rope here, and that attaches to the bridle, right, to my hoop net. Okay, and this is where the magic happens. This is the part that gets real exciting, so don't miss this, guys. Okay, so I have my rope marked at every 10 feet. With a different color zip tie. Blue, pink, whatever color you want, right? Go to like, I don't know, Walmart or something to get some colorful zip ties. So I know, I'm looking at my fish finder on my kayak, I'm like 30 feet of water. 30 feet of water, okay, so here we go. I can't remember if this is 15 feet or so there's my zip tie, right there. I think I want to say that was 20. Okay, so that's 20. Okay, if I'm in 40 feet of water, right, I go to the next, it's not that. It's not rocket science, right? So, we're going to the next one, okay? So look at this right here. So all I'm doing is, I already did it for you guys in the last seminar. So all I'm doing is I'm going to go right through the handle, okay? Come right back, and it's locked. It's locked, okay? So now when I'm throwing this out, all I'm doing is I'm picking up all this, throwing it in my boat, my kayak, and I'm just pulling this 20. When I get ready to get it in, I'm throwing the whole buoy out, 20, okay? You have to adjust to the tide. That's why I tell people, if you don't know how to read tide, this might not work for you. Because if you know the tide is going to rise or drop 5 or 10 feet, you can adjust. So if I'm at 30 feet and the tide's going to rise 5 feet in 3 hours, well, I know, hey, let's put out 5 more feet. Let's get a little bit longer, okay? Because that tide rises quickly. I've been before where I've checked the tide and I'm like, oh my gosh, the tide's rising. And I have the last hoop at the very end, and I'm trying to pedal over there or get over there in my boat, and it's doing this number. Anyone see it do this, right? And by the time they're like, oh my gosh, don't go down. All of a sudden, right when you get to it, it's gone. You're like, and you can see it down there, and you have to grab a gaff or have a diver get it for you or something like that. Be friends with the divers and get them on your boat and then get your hoop nets out and get stuck. But you want to adjust for the tide. All I do on this back end of this extension cord winder, as you can see in there, I just tie knots to tie it to the middle of it, and it just hangs out like this, okay? So this right here is called our float. This here is called our buoy. This is what marks our location. This is what floats our trap. This is very important for when you're going out there, especially the first night. Because everybody comes here, and they're all going to go lobster hooping, and they're all going to be doing this, right? So you go out there on Saturday, and you think, yeah, man, I want to go lobster hooping, and you guys all have this buoy. Which one's mine? Well, they all look the same, right? What makes your buoy different than somebody else's is the most important thing that you can do in lobster hooping when you're getting your gear together. Spend time on this. Bring out the kindergarten in yourself, right? I always tell people, get creative, man. Put monsters on this thing. Put trucks, Power Rangers, whatever it takes. Hey, man, you guys got a Power Ranger buoy on your boat? You guys see a Power Ranger one? Oh, yeah, guys, yeah, it's over there. They know, right? They separate your buoy from everybody else's buoy, okay? So what I do on mine is this is number 1. This is number 1, okay? How many of these are going to have my boat?
10.
10. My one fell off last year, so I got to buy a new one. It's kind of a bummer. Okay, so what I do is, this is high reflective tape. Okay, I can see this without a light stick. We're going to talk about those later. I can see this without a light stick, okay? Light stick goes in there, okay? Now, that hole doesn't come like that. Remember, it's a brand new buoy. Just came out of the womb, right? Okay, brand new, just a baby. You have to make it your own. And how you do that depends on how much time you're going to put into it, okay? So what I do is, I want this buoy to counterbalance at all times, okay? Because when I have a light, you think if I put a light stick in this thing, it's gonna stay straight? It's not, okay? You have to counterbalance the buoy. So what I do is I get a crate like this, fill it up with water, and I drill a hole in the top. Then I begin to weight it down. So in the back of here, this one's a little bit better. I think this one I just did. So right here, you see that? There's a hole there. I drill a hole and I put a piece of lead in there. Okay? Now that lead's going to counterbalance it. But a lot of times it's going to happen, that lead is going to counterbalance it, but maybe it's still off a little bit this way. So then what I do is I put another one down at the middle. And I keep drilling it out until it's perfectly level. I want it to sit just like this on the water. Okay? Once it's like this on the water, it's ready for battle. Okay? Now you can paint it and make it your own. The reason why I number 1 through 10 is because if I'm dropping my lobster traps 1 through 5 or 10 or whatever, and say 1, 4, and 6 are getting bugs, well, I can document that. Hey, 1, 6, and whatever are getting bugs, and 2, 7, 9, and 10 aren't. So what am I going to do with those? You're going to move them, right? Well, how do you know not to? How do you know not to move them? You don't know which. This is an address. This is an address. If it's not happening at this address, we got to move this address to a different location. Okay, different location. So all the guys in my boat were like, "Hey, Gil, we haven't got anything in number 3 for a while, but number 6 is popping." So we'll literally have all of our nets in one group because number 6 is happening, but everywhere else is not happening. And people say, "Oh, let's move them this way, move them that way." But how do you know unless you document? Okay? You gotta know how to do it. You have 10 nets. It's at night. You guys are cold. You guys are wet. You're super confused, right? Numbering your buoys is what's going to get you guys more accuracy, and so you won't have to work as hard. So when I do seminars here for you guys for Promar, is my job is lobster hooping it's a lot of work. Okay, you get wet, but it's rewarding. Okay, but let's just try to do things a little bit smarter. Okay, so what I like, we sell 2 different light sticks on the market. We sell this one here, like your normal glow stick, and we sell this one, the one that's in my hand. The cool thing about the one that's in my hand is it changes 2 different colors, right? It flashes, and it goes solid. Okay, so when I drop this buoy, or when I drop this net, and we'll get to the net sooner or later because there's not so much, I mean, the nets are the nets, but this is like the most important part. When we drop the net, and we have 10 nets out there, what's going to happen is I allow my bait to soak for 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes it's a really tougher crawl, I'll do 45 minutes, okay? So this is the problem. We have 10 nets, right? Does anyone know how long it takes to put 1 net out? About 20 minutes, right? Sometimes, right? Especially if you're not organized and you're just doing with spaghetti string like crazy. So you drop your first net, right? You have bait. So the bait of my choice is I like using salmon heads, mackerel, bonita, any type of greasy fish. We'll talk about the bait cages later and the bait as well, but we drop them down, okay? And so we're cutting bait, we're getting everything ready, okay? We're getting ready to throw the net, we gotta find our spot, we throw it over, now it's sinking, we adjust the rope. Okay, let's do the next one, okay? Well, 15, maybe 10 minutes have gone by. Okay, you only got 2 nets out. That's 2 nets. You still got 8 more to put out, okay? So if you don't have a working crew or you don't know like what you're doing, by the time you pull your first net, some time's gone by, right? And you're gonna pull that net. You might have lobster in it, or they might have like had a buffet in there, and there's no more bait. It's all gone. Like, oh my gosh! So what do you gotta do? You gotta rebait it, right? You gotta pull the net up. Now you're gonna rebait it. Okay, so you're back at the first net. You're rebaiting the first net. You still haven't pulled number 2. Okay, now you're spending 20 minutes. It's already been 25 minutes since you dropped 25, 30 minutes. Now you're pulling the first net, and you're rebaiting it. And now you're spending another 20 minutes. So we can do the math, right? Now it's hours gone by and you haven't even pulled number 2 yet. Okay? So this is where I can save you guys some time. As you bait and pull, my first pull is going to be a flash. That one's pulled. That one's checked. Okay? All the other ones are solid. Right? So I know, because there's times where you're moving 6 and 5 around, and I tell the guys when we're pulling nets, hey, make sure when you pull that net, you flash it. If I see 8 flashers and 2 solids, I know they haven't been what? Checked. They haven't been checked, okay? There's times when I didn't do this, where I pulled the same trap, like, I got turned around, I pulled the same trap, like, again. And I'm like, man, this thing has fresh bait. Oh man, it's dropped this one. Because you're not thinking, okay? So this is what's gonna organize you from flashers, okay, or something to indicate, numbers. Hey, have somebody on a piece of paper, like, hey, we checked this one at 9. I have people document it. I go, hey, what time? 9:10. We pulled this one, $3. Number 10 got $3, okay? Because what you're doing is you're taking the workout. It takes a little bit of time to document, but now what you're doing is you're scouting, okay? You're scouting those bugs. You're taking everything and you're kind of grouping it together. You're telling yourself where the bugs are instead of putting all your nets in an area where they're not supposed to be. Okay. So we have our Go ID. I have them numbered. I have high reflective tape, which we sell here at the store, and everything's on this here. High reflective tape. People, it's in a roll. People, they do however they want. Get creative, guys. Okay. Because if you want to do something easy, guarantee you someone else did something easy, right? So you want something that looks totally different, so spray paint them. So this is orange paint. It's high reflective paint, and then what I do is I go to Home Depot and I grab the mailbox high reflective paint that actually reflects, and I spray paint it. I put a coat of that on there. Okay, so I can see this buoy without a light. If I just want to hit up the spotlight, or say there's a bunch of hoop people around and I want to kind of be secretive, I can throw this somewhere where I don't even need a light. Because if they see a light, they're going to be like, hey man, look, there's a spot over there. Like the rookie guy's going to drop a net right by your net. And I'm cool with it, but it's like, man, I got to get my boat in there. I don't want to get my prop stuck on your rope, And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey man, I don't mind you fishing there, but if I can't get to my net, like, we got problems, man, I got the boys, they all swim, I don't know if they could pull up a net that was open water like that. So, 1 through 10, this is how I do it. What I do too is, I like to think that fishermen are honest. You know, I don't. It's never worked for me, but I'm trying it. You know, I've lost a couple nets and it's never really worked out for me. But I'm really hoping one day to get a phone call like, "Hey Gilbert, yeah, who's this? Hey, this is Tom over. Hey, I found your lobster trap out there." Because I put my phone number in my name. You know, because I want people to know like, "Hey, if you find my lobster trap, can you please return it?" Usually they're like, "Scratch that name off, man. Got me a lobster trap, brother." You know, so that's that. So any questions on anything we've talked about before we move into the net and the actual baiting and everything? Any questions, Jesse?
When you said about moving, how large are these areas, first of all? And can you move within the area without doing rotation and stuff? What can you do that?
Well, it depends. So when you talk about moving, you basically, lobster are going to hide. I always tell people lobster are like a sand bass or a calico bass. They like to be in structure. They have the rocky structure. They hide. That's somewhere they can hide. Okay. So let's give like Long Beach break wall an example. Like there's a big break wall out there, right? And key hint: the middle break wall is where people go and catch bugs. Middle break wall is really good. Inside the harbor is really good as well. But what I like to do, if I don't know an area, because I remember I was fishing a tournament one year, it was a championship round, and it was actually the lobster opener, so I'd never been out there, so I would spread my stuff like 50 feet apart, you know, then we start the scouting process, right? We drop our 10 nets. If you have to spread them out a half a mile, you just got to do the work, you know, and then you start to hone everything kind of in, or you hone everything kind of out. So you may get lucky, and you may go to an area, you may find a stone that's like the size of this little room here, and you can put all your 10 nets there, and you can be catching lobsters all night. But it just depends, so you're going to have to do the work, and that's where the work comes involved, where you might have to spread your nets out a little further and try areas. Like I'll go, I'm not that good in Long Beach Harbor. I'm hoping to get it down this year. I've been at Catalina, I've been at Dana Point, I've been out of the break wall in Long Beach. But whenever I go somewhere new, I just spread everything out as far as I can, and I try to get it in. You know, you don't want to be next to any boat traffic that's tankers that are going in, or the main. You want to stay away from that. You know, get close in. That's why I like hooping off a kayak for me, because I get super tight. The only problem with that is you're going to get a lot of other critters, which we're going to talk about right now with the nets. I got some good stories for you guys with that stuff, man. Question?
Out this year just off of piers, jetties, whatever, here locally, and I've been kind of thinking about where the breakwater starts at San Pedro, and there's a public fishing pier there, but I've read about the concerns that are published on contamination of the fish. Certain fish you shouldn't eat there because of 50 years ago, the DDT and all the weird things that were in the harbor. Do you have any knowledge or experience of whether there's any lobster there or whether they're safe to eat?
I'll tell you this, if there is structure there, there's lobster there.
Yeah, right.
Jim, the guy, he did a lot of these seminars. I've learned a lot from him, and we're really good friends. He personally stays away from the harbor. He likes to do open water stuff. That's at least what he tells me. And so I actually hit him up the other day. I'm like, "Hey man, what's up with Long Beach Harbor?" He's like, "I don't know anything about that." I'm like, so,
well, the San Pedro area is known more than the Long Beach Harbor as being more prone to contamination of the fish. And I'm just thinking, what about the lobster?
What I would
Are
do
they
is
safe to eat?
If you haven't seen anything posted, Fishing Game is really good about posting. As far as consumptions and any lakes. I know if you guys ever been to a lake and there's striped bass or something. Hey, don't eat the striped bass. You don't eat the trout. You don't eat this fish. And I personally could just direct you that way. And say like, you can eat a lobster at Long Beach Harbor and you can be Superman next day. I don't know. Who knows? There's some kryptonite in there or something. There's always that. You just kind of. I think you just have to taste the quality of the bugs, and see how they go from there.
What are the penalties and fines?
It all varies. I don't know exactly. Every year's different. I've had guys that get $400 just for having a short lobster, and they got to go to court. And sometimes the court is up to their. I got to go to San Luis Obispo for court. So, and depending on how many bugs you have, and it all, they can tally everything up as, hey, he didn't have the lobster card filled out, and he had a short lobster, and it just ding, 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 just has a calculator there, just ringing you up, man. So I like to tell people, let's not even worry about that. Let's go out there and be legit. Usually when I've done some seminars where people try to get away with stuff, I'm like, listen, you're gonna get caught. Sooner or later, you're gonna get caught. That's why I say that lobster in your hand, like, act like it's a hot potato, man. Get rid of it, you know, and then shout to the sky. Question.
Yeah, I've got a Hobie 12-foot Pro Fisher.
Yeah, probably.
What can you can only get 1 or 2 hoops on there, can't you?
No, you cannot. You know, we're gonna. So let's move it. Anyone question? We move into the hoop nets. Yes.
Would you mention finding someone else's building in net?
Yeah.
When can you check that? I mean,
Check whenever you want. Well, and the guy will let you know not to. The guy, whoever's lobster hoop it is, he'll let you know when not to check it. Yeah. But if no one's around, you're like. But if you have 10 hoops on your boat and you're pulling up that one for your 11, you can't come in unless you throw one overboard you don't like and then bring that one in. You know, you can only have 10.
You might want to tell them what happens if you do get caught with the illegal lobsters and what they could take.
Yeah, they can take everything from you.
And they could search everything.
Yeah. They can search your vehicle. They have every right to search your vehicle. They can search your boat in and out. And then if you have an illegal lobster, if you have a boat, what they're going to do is they're going to get the Coast Guard involved in it too. They're going to go through all your safety equipment. They're going to get you for no fire extinguisher, no flotation device. No, they're going to look at your
Talking
PFDs.
about $5,000.
Yeah, they're going to get you going good. And they're going to say, hey, guess what? What kind of hitch you got? Because you're going to hook it up to our boat because we're taking it. So we don't want to get to that point because then you're poaching. Okay, so we don't want to be poaching. We want to
I've
be.
been searched.
We want to. Yeah, I've been searched as well. And usually my bugs are like, oh, honest with you guys, okay, those are good. Because I don't mess around with short lobster. Like, even if I think it's, I've thrown away bugs that are legal lobster. But I'm not taking the chance of, like, when I put my gauge in it, I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm telling my buddies, no, that's good. And I just throw it overboard. Because I'm not, your character is not worth it. Especially me, like, fishing for all these companies, a representative for Promar. The last thing that I need on me is Gilbert got a short lobster. And I can tell people all up and down that it was real close, but once it hits the internet, oh yeah, that Gilbert guy is shady, you know. One day this goes forever. I caught the biggest rainbow trout this year for the opener at the Mammoth. It was a 9.6 at Convict. If you ever go to the store, look at my picture. But some guy on a forum was like, yeah, I talked to the guy, he was mean. I'm like, I was mean, man? Like, yeah, I saw I got the fish. I mean, so the internet talks. That's the last thing you want is people thinking you're some poacher or something. I'm actually a really nice guy. I give you stickers.
I think you said it, but I know everybody that's on the boat has to have their own individual gauge.
Everybody has to have their own
You
individual.
can't have one for the whole boat. Everybody has to have one.
Everybody has to have a gauge. Yes. Okay, this is a good question. This is a very good question. Okay, the question was, if they are not lobstering, do they need to have a lobster card? Okay. If your wife is on the boat and she doesn't want to lobster hoop, unless she's handcuffed, sitting in a chair, okay, that's the only way she's going to get away. The minute she touches the steering wheel to drive the boat, she's participating in catching lobster. Okay? And you say, hey, honey, hand me that gauge. She's participating in catching lobster. Okay? It's participation. Okay? So, I would actually love to see that. Like, just sit there, like, because I guarantee you they're with binoculars watching you.
I'm sorry. So 6 a.m. Saturday it opens. I'm planning to maybe get to where I'm going, a fixed structure at 5, and I anticipate other people showing up as well. And you know, I claim out 2 spots for my 2 nets, and they're there. They have my name on it and all this. I'm waiting for 6 o'clock. At 5, some people do it. They're dropping early. They're poaching, okay?
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn as to what to do. I'm kind of inexperienced of this. I'm thinking, should I confront them nicely, say, do your poaching somewhere else, further away, you're dropping where I'm dropping, or I've got the toll-free number to turn them in as well. I have the number dialed in my phone, the iTips or the tips thing. I don't have the app
You
or
can
anything.
do, like, you
But
can do
I would
whatever.
like to turn them in, or I'm tempted, if they drop, then maybe, should I drop?
No.
You know, because they're gonna take my lobster anyway. What do I
2
do?
wrongs don't make a right, and
Okay.
you know,
I mean, this is really, it's kind of a war out there.
it's always good. Yeah, and this is the thing. It's always a war at the beginning of the season. Okay, Jim, the guy who does this, he doesn't even hoop the opener because he hates it.
Right.
He just hates it. At least that's what he tells me. That's what he tells me. So, I have done some of my best hooping in like around Thanksgiving, and there's like nobody around. Like the hype of it is so. Like I've debated, like, do I want to go out to opener? Like, do I want to mess with Havasu out there? You know, do I want to do all this stuff? And it's like, you know what? Let's just go out and let's get the hoops wet a little bit, but it's like the gym on New Year's Day, you know. It's like everybody wants to go to the gym, right? And then give it a couple weeks and people are gone. Like, bro, I mean, you lobster guys attended that like November, December, and especially the hooping actually starts to get better because when the storm starts to roll in, the water starts to get turned up and muddy and dirty. The bugs come out. You go out in a good rainstorm, man, you're gonna get a lot of bugs because they like that trashy water. You know, but nobody's out there. He's like, oh my gosh, it's raining. I don't want to get wet. But you're out there just catching bugs, man. So if you don't want to, like I say, if you don't want to mess with the traffic, if you don't want to mess with all the Havasu people and the people that don't know what they're doing, because there's a lot of those people out there. Wait, like definitely wait. And it's good if you're a newbie to get into it, but just wait. If I can give you a piece of advice, because it's gonna be a zoo out there, you know, and being a part of that zoo is kind of rough, you know. So, but you know, just mark some structure, go out. I mean, sometimes people have their spots, but you know, things can happen in other places, you know. And there's a whole body of water out there that we can all share. But if someone's doing something illegal, that's on you, you know. You could do the right thing, or you just leave, turn a blind eye to it, you know. I don't like poachers myself, you know. We all buy a fishing license. We all abide by the law. We're all here to know the law, you know. We're all here to educate ourselves on that. So why is it okay for someone else to get away with it? So, like hooping Catalina Island, hooping deeper water. This net weighs 14 pounds. Okay. We tried a lot of these nets on like the party boats that are hooping, and people don't like pulling them. If you're going to use this net, most likely it's going to be with the machine. You can try to pull it if you want to do an arm day or something. This is probably what you want to try. But it's really heavy, you guys, and we sell these here in the store. All the product is back there, so that's this one. And then we have our 36-inch. This one's just the normal size, right? This is our oversized or XL net, okay? And then we have the 32, okay, which is a net that the kayakers like to use, or even, you know, you want to. It's just bigger, so I mean, 32, 36 is bigger. I personally like pulling these, but I pull these a lot as well. Now, when it comes to, where was the kayak question? Right here. Okay. So, depending on how you put your rope, okay, so when we were talking about buoys earlier, this is what I do, right? This is what I do when I'm on my kayak. I do this, okay? So I can actually disconnect. So let's say, so now I'm here, right? So I'm going to take remember my 500-pound stainless steel? I'm just going to take it in there, and I'm just going to roll it down just like that. Okay? Because if you guys see these nets back there, have you seen how they stack? They stack beautifully. You can get like 40 of them stacked this high, okay? The problem is that when you don't do something like this, you have to put the rope and the buoy inside the trap, okay? And so that's what it's going to do, is going to make it unlevel. So what I do when I'm done fishing is I just unscrew this, okay? Unscrew it, take it off, and I stack it. Now I have 5 that I can put in my front hatch of my Pro-Angler, or 5 I can put 2 in the front, maybe 3 in the hatch, and then my stack of nets are behind me, stacked up 5 high. Easy thing. Same with my boat. I can take my buoys, and I can even like just put them in the back in the corner, 10 buoys, and have 10 nets in the front stacked, perfectly stacked, 10 high.
Where's your bugs?
What's that?
Where's the bugs?
Oh, they're all in the ocean.
No, but I mean after you've already pulled them out.
Oh,
Your bugs.
oh, my bugs.
Yeah.
Oh, they're either in my bait tank.
Okay, so just that front hatch?
Yeah, either front hatch, or what I do is I put my nets behind my Hobie bait tank, so I can actually put them behind. You know, I don't like coming in lit up. You know, like I take all my light sticks, I put them in my hatch and everything. I come in stealth, man. You know, if you come in looking like, you know, it's the small world, someone's gonna stop you and give you a hard time. But if we're all legal, it shouldn't matter, right? So when it comes, that's how I stack them. It makes life easier for me. You could do, and you guys, listen, my way is not everybody's way. You may have a way that works better for you. God bless you for that, you know. But this works for me. I've had people blue in the face tell me like all this stuff that I do is wrong. I'm like, hey man, it's catching a lobster. I went out there before, I didn't know anything about it, and I caught lobsters, so I don't know how difficult it must be, right? You just drop a net with some bait in it. But it's the process of doing it. It's the process of making your life easier that makes your life easier. Throwing a bait down, throwing a cage with bait is one thing, and just getting the crawl, but the process of doing it is, that's why I'm here, to teach you how to do it easier and how to rig up easier. So we have two types of bait cages out here. The first bait cage that we were using was this style of bait cage here, and we would shove it with bait, mackerel, like I said, mackerel, salmon heads, any type of greasy fish. I used to stuff it, like when I first started doing it, I stuff it, I want to get as many bugs there as possible. But then I realized that like the sea lions love the bait, not just the lobster, okay? And so the sea lions would come and they actually would take this bait cage and they would smash it to the point where it looked like a smashed can, okay? And then I'd be like, hey man, my buoy is moving. Like, and what happened, the sea lion would have it and he would take it out like to Catalina Island. I'm like, where are you going, my buoy, man? And so, because they're really attracted to this and they sit there and they suck all the bait out of here and they try to grab their teeth and they just get a little taste for it, they won't leave you alone. So once you start dropping traps, they know that if they know you have this type of trap, especially if it's a high sea lion traffic area, they're not going to leave you alone. Okay, they're going to keep bothering you all night. I'd be in my kayak out there, and all of a sudden, I'm all by myself. My friends are up there hooping. It's completely dark around me, and I look up, and I see these two red eyes looking at me. And all of a sudden, it goes in the water. So I grab my gaff, right? It's a little tennis ball at the end of it. I'm like doing this number, right? And the sea lion throw is going to pop up right here. And you hit them right in the head, man, because they want your bait. They know you have cut bait, and they're not going to leave you alone. And when you're on a kayak, it's a pretty scary thing, man. When you got like a 500-pound sea lion following you. When you're on a boat, you can like laugh at them. But when you're in a kayak, it's pretty fearful, man. I mean, check your pants kind of stuff, So that's why we designed this bait cage. And so this is the one I actually used for many years. And we have these clips that you can buy with ProArm. The bait clips, you can actually, before you'd have to zip tie them down to the trap. Now we actually have clips that can actually clip to net and make it real easy. Because before I was going to I would buy like zip ties by the hundreds, and I'm zip tying, and I would actually zip tie. Anyone zip tie the bait cage? So what I started doing is I go to Harbor Freight and I just buy a bungee cord, and now it's done, right? And I don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta cut that zip, and my boat and my kayak be zip ties cut everywhere. And I'm like, I'm done with zip ties, man. So I started doing this, but now we have a seal bait cage out. This is our seal bait cage. Once the sea lions see this, they don't mess with you. They see this bait cage, they'll know that you're the kayaker that ruined their day, or you're the boater that ruined their day, and they're going to go to the guy that has this one. Okay. What I like about this cage too is that it's a little bit smaller, and the lobster don't sit there and eat on the bait all the entire time. So your bait's going to last a little bit longer. You're going to go through a lot of bait, especially if you have 10 nets. And if you have this style of cage, and this style of cage is great. Sometimes it attracts them more than this. I've done both where I'm like, hey man, I bring these with me. I'm like, get rid of the seal cage, just go with this. Let's get more of a scent in the water. But those lobster can't really get to the bait with this. They get to the scent and they crawl on it and they're just trying to get to it. And I do really well with these cages. They spin like this, it's super easy to store them, and the sea lions don't mess with it. So it's our seal bait cage, and it's there to frustrate sea lions and help out fishermen. When you're out there, I'm always constantly making bait. In between pools, I'm throwing cat food and water, throwing broken up mackerel in the water, throwing up something, so I'm trying to make mackerel. Because you're going to go through a lot of mackerel. I was out making bait last week. I was actually looking for the bonita because I heard they were around, but I couldn't find them. It's sabiki rod, okay? I just tied the sabiki on. I have a smaller sabiki rod. I had that sabiki on, the same sabiki. Kid you not, I had the same sabiki for 7 years on the rod. And I just realized something the last time I went out. I'm like, man, this sabiki's not working that good. I don't know why. I've had it on for 7 years. I realized that all the hooks are rusted out. And that's why I wasn't catching any mackerel. Super simple. Just goes out just
Nice.
like that, drop to the bottom, you always save your rig, and you
Wow.
catch mackerel throughout the night as you're hooping. We might have some of these rods in stock. I don't know if they said they had some or not. We do. Yeah, one or two. I know I just did a seminar at Bass Pro. Oh yeah. So we have the speaker rods. Those are a hot ticket, man. I'm telling you, they will save, and they all break down. So I can actually break this down in 3 pieces, and they all break down. They go into that little holder there. So I can actually take this, and you can actually put it in your kayak, or you can break it down, just put it in the front of your hatch in your boat, so you always have a sabiki rod, always have a bait rod. We have sabikis here today. I think they're on sale for 99 cents. Always good to have. The problem with sabikis and four is like you tie them on a spinning reel and you use them once and you what? You throw them away, right? Because if you don't throw them away, they get stuck in your clothes. And so now this is a way that we can protect them and keep them from any harm from us. So, the flashlighting headlamps, it's super important. I always like to use LED stuff, it's super bright. And I also like to use infrared, okay? The reason why you want to use infrared is because if you're talking to your buddies, you don't want to talk to them with a light on because it's going to happen, it's going to blind them. And you always got that guy that comes like, hey man, you get any bugs? And you're driving the boat and you're like, hey man, don't look at me because your eyes will adjust to darkness. I try to keep it as dark as possible when I'm hooping. And the only time I put a light on is at the bow of the boat when we get lobster on the boat. And after that, the light is off because I want to adjust my eyes to the darkness, okay, as much as I can. When you're pulling up a lobster net, this is very important too. Do you think lobsters are the only things that go in lobster traps? No. Okay, I had a guy I was hooping with, and I said, hey man, he was on a kayak and he was pulling super fast and he grabbed the trap and he put it on his lap. I said, hey man, you probably won't want to do that because there's like a bunch of creepy crawlers down there that like that stuff. And somebody's gonna get out and jump and bite you or something, you know? So he was hooping, and next thing you know, I see him in the back of his kayak, holding his kayak, his boat's up in the air. An eel was in his net, and it bit him right in the goods. And he was slithering around his boat, in his kayak, right? And so I've had many times, so what I do is I pull, and you guys do this as well, where you're on a boat or a kayak, you pull the kayak, you leave the net over the side of the boat, over the side of the kayak, you shine your light into the hoop net, and you realize what is in the net, okay? Because you don't know what's inside that net. So I have people grab it, oh, there's no eel in it. They throw the net on the boat, they reach in to grab a lobster, and what's behind the lobster? Sculpin. Okay? Sculpin had lobster, gets down in his hand as big as a balloon. He's looking for hot water. Us as guys, we're like, we got some hot water for you. Okay? Sometimes that's what you got to do, right? That's what you got to do. What you got to do, right? To get that pain down. Okay? You guys are gonna get to, it doesn't have to be talked about, but it's going to happen. Okay? So be sure what you know what's in that net at all times. Okay? Don't put something on your boat that it's not safe. Okay? So that's why I have a spotlight. Have someone pull the net and have a spotter. Hey, you pull the net. I'm spotting. Okay? All right. Cool, man. That's a big. Okay. Put it on the boat. We're good. Because if you have an eel on there, what you want to do is you want to be able to drop it, bring it back up, drop it, bring. You want that eel to get out. Okay? Because you're going to be sitting there, and I did this before. Oh my gosh, got an eel in my basket. What do I do? And I'm sitting there. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And it's, hey, drop the net down a little bit. Pick it back up. Try to get him. Those lobster, what they're going to do is they're going to stick in that cage. They're not moving. They'll start kicking, but they're going to kick to the back of the net. Okay? You're going to kick to the back of that net, and you're going to feel them. As you pull up, they're going to be doop, 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 because they swim backwards, right? Okay? The piggies are going to be on the bait, and they're not going to move. You can have them, throw them in your bait tank, they're still going to be eating fish, right? They don't care. They're designed just to scavenge and eat food. I've caught calico bass before on fishing, and we're fishing, I have a calico in the bait tank, and I open the bait tank, and there's 2 lobsters, bare hug in it, just chawing on its face. I'm like, good God, man, they're just like animals, right? Like, so they're going to do the same thing with this bait cage. So don't worry about losing them. You want to get whatever's in there out. So be very careful. That's why we have these gloves. When we pull, we're pulling with gloves. We're having our safety equipment on. If you're out there in a kayak, wear your PDF, wear your life, and then have rain gear on, you're going to get wet. People think like, I'm going to go lobster fishing, you're going to go like in my hangout party clothes. It's like, you're going to get wet, man. Like you wear deck boots, you're going to wear waterproof pants, you're going to water jacket because you're going to be cold. I always like to bring coffee with me to keep warm. Extra pair of socks if I need to because you're going to get wet. And especially during the winter times, you get later into the season, it's going to get cold. If you want to catch a lot of bugs, you're going to have to go into harsher environments. When it starts to rain, the weather begins to drop. Temperatures begin to drop. What am I missing? I think that's it. Do we have any questions?
Get those extension cord things at Home Depot.
Yes. Yep, the extension cord winders you get at Home Depot. I think they're a few bucks a piece. On my extension cord too, like I said, just make it your own. Maybe some tape on there. You know, if you go, this tape's from Harbor Freight. This one, Harbor Freight tape. They come in like little blocks. I can cut them. I can do all kinds of cool stuff with them. I mean, you guys can get creative out there. Like I said, I mark my rope with actual beat indicators that I can unwind on the front and throw them out. Yeah, that's it. I have, if any of you guys want my card, if you want to ask me a question, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Feel free. See me on the water. Let me know. I do speak a lot of places about the Hall Show. Don't be shy. Come say hi to me. If you want to talk fishing, whatever you want to talk on, don't believe the internet. I'm actually a nice guy. But if you need, yes.
Infrared light doesn't help your naked eye. How do you use it?
So basically the infrared is, I can actually talk to somebody without it blinding me. So if somebody, like when I'm tournament fishing, and we do, like my partner has it, like we're always in infrared because I can actually have a conversation with him and him not like blinding me out. It actually does better for me when I'm driving because if they're around the boat, I don't want the light to ruin my vision. It's almost like staring into the sun when you have a bright light on. The infrared just helps it tone that down just a little bit. I mean, if he stares directly at me, of course I'm gonna get blinded, but it's better that than, you know, LED at its fullest, at highest power, you know? But headlamps are all you guys should have headlamps, spotlights on the boat.
So if you use the flashlights in the water, would the bugs crawl away?
No, they won't. No, they won't. I mean, if you're dieting or something, even the divers, when they shoot them, they kind of freeze, like deer in headlights, and they kind of go behind them and pin them. But you won't scare them. You're going to be in like 30 feet. They're not even going to notice you. 30, 40 feet of water, they won't even notice you because you're just going to be shining on the outside of the boat into the basket.
Talk about tide and moon phases and whatnot. What about water temperature?
See, water temperature for me, it varies. I mean, the colder water, of course, they're going to like it more. But I think what they're going to like most is dirty water, like after a storm. And the cool thing is, someone said it's going to rain on Tuesday of next week, and I'm going out Wednesday. Yeah, I'm going out Wednesday, and so I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's going to stir that up, you know, and get those bugs moving. So I would say, yeah, colder water. I've done good both, you know. But if you think about the season of hoop netting, it's during the winter time, you know, and you're catching bugs all the way through March, you know, and so temperature, I think it's every location's different, you know. I mean, you go down to Catalina, you're going to get a whole different vibe than you would get in Huntington or Long Beach Harbor. Okay, so there's a lot of places that are out of bounds. Okay, you cannot hoop there. It's a Marine Life Protection Act. Okay, so it's private. It's only the government. They're protecting all the fish. If you see a buoy there and they see you fishing in there or lobstering in there, you're going to get a ticket. It's your responsibility to get a fishing game handbook to know where these areas are. Okay, there's some in Palos Verdes, there's some in Dana Point, there's some in Catalina, China Point, right with China Point. There's a lot of good hooping areas. They're off limits to hoop netting. Okay, so if everybody's buoys on this line and you're thinking no one's over here, they're not over there for a reason. It's probably because it's MLPA. So it's your responsibility to know where you can and cannot fish.
On that same line, years ago, I hoop netted off the Cabrillo Mole at Catalina Island. It's every year it's been one of the most productive sites anywhere in Southern California. Since 2015, if you haven't heard, it's completely closed to lobster catching, you know, off the mole.
Yeah. So it's your responsibility to know those things. And Fishing Game is going to tell you that. You're going to say, oh, I didn't know. And they're going to say, that's too bad because it's your responsibility to know the rules before you fish or before you hoop. It's your responsibility. So I always tell people to wrap up this seminar is that to know the regulations. Okay? Don't take my word for it. Know the regulations. Okay? Any other questions?
Do you
Raise your hand. You raise your hand.
No, but they do tell you when you're coming in the harbor to have a headlamp on, you know. But I always keep one on anyways. I want people to know where I'm at all times.
Do you weight the bottom of your net?
I don't weigh the bottom of my net. I did at
Never
one
mind.
point. Lead Master was making these weights here. You can actually zip tie to your net, but I usually don't. If I am going to go deeper now, I would use the 14-pound net. But I've hooped over 100 feet before. I never used any weights. Been fine. Any questions?
How do you locate the hot spots for?
Okay, how do you locate the hot spots? It's, all you want to do is look for a hard bottom. Okay, so a hard bottom or a rocky structure. That's why we say having a GPS, but a color GPS is important because color is going to mark that hard bottom. It's just like sand bass fishing or calico bass fishing. You want to make sure you see a rocky structure, but you want to make sure it's a hard bottom. The lobsters aren't going to live in sand. Okay, they're going to be all around the hard bottom and the hard structure. They'll travel out to sand to scavenge stuff, but they're going to stay around something that can protect themselves. So you got to find like a wreck or a reef or a rock pile or something like that, and you'll see it on your fish finder.
Is it true they're deeper in the early season and shallower in the late season?
I would say it's hit and miss. I would say it's hit and miss because I've hooped the break walls. I've hooped out here at Dana Point, and it's the same depth all year long, and I've done great. And even middle season and the off season, I've done all year long. I can tell you that every month that I fish from the opener till March, I've gotten a limit at least one time every month.
Even with the commercial?
Yep. Yep. Because you gotta remember, guys, when the season starts to die down, there's nobody out there, so there's no one to catch the bugs. So you have bait out there, they're gonna go to your nets. Like I said, I've been out there November, December, there's nobody out there, you know? Nobody out there. First couple weeks, it's gonna be kind of crazy, I'll be honest with you guys. But after that, I guarantee you it will calm down, it always does.
What's the limit?
7. Probably should have talked about that. Yeah, December, I never told me the limit, I got 20 bucks.
7 per season?
7 per day.
Per day.
I usually, what I do for me is I go by the moon. So moon rise, moon set, you know. If the moon's gonna rise and the moon starts rising at 6 and it's gonna set at midnight, I'm off the water for midnight. There ain't no use for me hooping in the bright moon. If you're gonna have a new moon or something, or no moon at all, sometimes I'll be out there at 2 in the morning. It just depends, you know. But I'm not gonna hoop, that's why we talk about moon phase and tide. I'm not gonna hoop in a slack tide with the bright moon. It's just pointless to me. I tried it, I tried to prove people wrong, and I was the one going home, people laughed at me. I told you. So, no moon phases, no tides before you go out. If your tide's gonna be moving early at night, so it's gonna start moving at 8 o'clock, it's gonna move till 10, that's gonna be your prime time, especially when there's no moon. Then you can kind of judge, you know, same thing. It's like bass fishing. When you're fishing in the harbor for spotted bay bass, people say they get out there, dark 100, but like the tide's not gonna start moving till 9 o'clock. So get out there at 9 o'clock. You're fishing in a slack tide for 2 hours. You know, there's no reason to do that. So if you're gonna be a saltwater fisherman, you need to know moon phase and tide. If you don't know those things, know them at the back of your hand, because it's gonna make you a better fisherman.
Question on the limit.
Yes.
Is that a bag limit or a daily? So say you go to Catalina for a couple days.
That's a daily limit, yes.
So you can have 14 in your possession?
You have to have 14 in your possession, yes. Yes, people do it all the time.
You gotta make sure you mark it on your card.
Bear fishing, it's just 2.
2?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just 2.
Any other questions?
I can just use.
Hey, thank you guys so much. My cards are up here.